Israel, a land where ancient history and spiritual heritage converge with breathtaking natural beauty. From the sacred streets of Jerusalem to the shimmering shores of the Dead Sea, Israel is a country that holds stories etched in every stone, every wave, and every horizon. This is a nation that has witnessed both wonder and war. In recent times, conflict and tension have shaped many headlines. The pain is real, and the longing for peace is deep. But beyond the headlines, Israel is also a land of life, of culture, of resilience. A place where people continue to build, to hope, and to welcome. In this video, we leave behind the noise of conflict and focus instead on the landscapes, the history, and the spirit that make Israel an extraordinary destination. We journey through ancient cities, sunlit deserts, lush vineyards, and coastal gems, revealing the beauty that continues to thrive in the heart of complexity. You'll discover the magic of places like Tel Aviv's vibrant beaches, the mystical silence of the Negev Desert, the Sea of Galilee's sacred calm, and the colorful alleys of Old Jaffa. From spiritual landmarks to natural wonders, Israel offers a diversity that surprises and captivates. May this journey through Israel remind us of the beauty that still exists, even in difficult times, and may it be a quiet wish for understanding, for unity, and above all, for peace. Perched high in the northern reaches of Israel, the Golan Heights is a land where rugged beauty meets historical resonance, a windswept plateau shaped by ancient forces and more recent struggles. Here, basalt cliffs and emerald pastures stretch beneath wide skies, offering an ever-shifting panorama that stirs both the heart and the imagination. The terrain is diverse and dramatic. Volcanic hills rise from the landscape like silent sentinels, watching over deep valleys carved by centuries of rainfall and rivers. One such river, the Bahá'í, flows from the foot of Mount Hermon, creating hidden waterfalls and lush vegetation as it winds its way through a reserve steeped in mystery and myth. The Bahá'í Nature Reserve not only shelters vibrant ecosystems, but also the ruins of Caesarea Philippi, an ancient Greco-Roman city where nature and archaeology entwine in solemn elegance. Further south, the stark magnificence of the Yehuda Forest Reserve unfolds with trails that traverse craggy gorges, plunge into cool streams, and lead to waterfalls cascading into secret pools. Hikers wind through a mosaic of oak woodlands and open savanna, often pausing to spot wild boars, ibexes, and graceful birds in flight. It's a sanctuary not only for wildlife, but for those seeking a moment's stillness in nature's embrace. Atop Mount Bental, once a military outpost, and now a panoramic viewpoint, the landscape reveals itself in breathtaking scale. On clear days, one can gaze across to the Syrian border, Mount Hermon's snow-dusted peak, and the Sea of Galilee shimmering in the distance. Metal sculptures along the trail whisper stories of the land's military past, while a small cafe offers warmth and rest in this otherwise windswept expanse. The Golan is also a land of vineyards and orchards. Its volcanic soil, high altitude, and cool climate give rise to award-winning wines and rich harvests. Local wineries such as Golan Heights Winery and Chateau Golan blend innovation with tradition, offering tastings of bold reds and crisp whites in rustic settings framed by vines and mountains. In springtime, cherry blossoms color the valleys. In autumn, pomegranates split open with ruby brilliance. Every season tells its own story. Katzrin, the capital of the Golan, adds a layer of cultural depth. In its Talmudic village, reconstructed basalt houses and olive presses transport visitors back to a bygone era. The nearby Golan Archaeological Museum offers glimpses of daily life during the Mishnah and Talmud periods, while modern cafes and artisan shops pulse with the rhythms of contemporary life. Yet the Golan Heights is more than scenery and history. It is a place of spirit. Druze villages such as Maidal Shams hold to deep-rooted traditions, echoing a culture shaped by mountain isolation and enduring faith. Visitors may be invited to sample traditional dishes like sfiha or mansaf, or to listen to the haunting sounds of Arabic poetry carried on mountain winds. Come winter, snow blankets the northern peaks, transforming Mount Hermon into Israel's only ski resort. Families and adventurers alike flock to the slopes, exchanging hiking boots for skis as pine trees stand cloaked in white silence. In the summer, those same slopes burst into bloom, hosting picnics and wildflower walks under sapphire skies. The Golan Heights is a land of paradoxes, wild yet cultivated, remote yet pivotal, scarred by history but blooming with life. It invites the traveler not just to witness its vast beauty, but to listen to the wind sweeping over lava rock, to the quiet footfalls on forest trails, to the stories hidden in ruins and whispered in cafes. This is a place where landscapes breathe memory and possibility, where each bend in the road offers a new view and a deeper understanding of the land beneath your feet. In the southern stretch of Israel, where the land opens wide and the sky seems endless, the Negev Desert unfolds like a canvas, painted with light, shadow, and time. Covering more than half the country's land, it is a realm of contrasts, harsh and delicate, barren yet blooming with life for those who look closely. This is no ordinary desert. It is a landscape shaped by sun and silence, scattered with ancient ruins, vibrant communities, and stories etched deep into the earth. The Negev's geography shifts with every mile. Wind-sculpted cliffs give way to wide gravel plains, then to dramatic craters and rugged mountains. One of the region's crown jewels is the Ramon Crater, or Maktesh Ramon, a massive, heart-shaped geological marvel, 40 kilometers long and up to 10 kilometers wide. Unlike a meteor impact or volcanic formation, this erosion crater is one of a kind. From the cliff-edge town of Mitzpe Ramon, visitors gaze out over its vast expanse, where layers of earth in rust, gold, and ochre tell a geological story millions of years in the making. Mitzpe Ramon itself is a quiet outpost that's become a haven for stargazers, desert hikers, and artists drawn by the landscape's raw inspiration. At night, the skies above the crater transform into one of the clearest celestial displays in the region, with stars burning bright above the silent, sleeping land. But the Negev is not silent everywhere. At Sde Boker, the legacy of David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, is felt deeply. It was here that he chose to live his final years, drawn by the dream of making the desert bloom. His modest home remains preserved, and not far from it, his grave overlooks a dramatic wilderness that he believed held Israel's future. Today, the nearby Ben-Gurion University's Desert Research Center carries forward his vision, exploring sustainable agriculture, solar energy, and water conservation. The Negev also tells stories far older than modern Israel. Avdat, once a Nabatean city along the incense route, now lies in romantic ruin, its crumbling columns and stone arches silhouetted against desert skies. Camels once crossed these trails laden with spices and silk, connecting Arabia to the Mediterranean. Walking among Avdat's remains, one can almost hear the echo of hooves and voices from ancient caravans that once stopped to rest beneath these same stones. Even deeper into the desert, remote sites like Shivta emerge like mirages, silent Byzantine cities where churches, olive presses, and reservoirs reveal a past of surprising sophistication. These ancient communities mastered desert living long before the age of modern technology, harvesting every drop of water and cultivating resilience from stone. Yet the Negev is not just history and rock. It is also alive with culture and people. Bedouin communities continue to inhabit the region, their tents and villages scattered across the sands. Some maintain centuries-old traditions, others blend heritage with modern life. In places like Lakia or Segev Shalom, visitors can experience traditional hospitality, taste zarb cooked in earth ovens, or see intricate embroidery passed down through generations of Bedouin women. The desert's resilience is reflected in its nature too. Ibexes balance effortlessly on cliffsides, and foxes leave delicate prints in the morning sand. Desert plants, gnarled and patient, bloom after rare rains, painting the landscape with bursts of color, pinks, purples, and pale yellows that vanish almost as quickly as they appear. In the Negev, time slows. The vastness invites reflection, and the horizon, always just out of reach, seems to whisper possibilities. It is a place of ancient wisdom and modern dreams, where the land challenges and rewards in equal measure. Here, in this desert of light and shadow, Israel reveals a side often overlooked, one where silence speaks, the stones remember, and the future is written in the dust. Rising gracefully along the northern slope of Mount Carmel in Haifa, the Bahá'í Gardens unfold like a living tapestry, 19 terrace levels of symmetry, color, and sacred purpose. This is not simply a garden, but a spiritual landscape where devotion takes form in the elegance of nature. Also known as the Terraces of the Bahá'í Faith, this UNESCO World Heritage Site draws visitors from across the globe, regardless of belief, united by a shared sense of awe. From the base to the summit, each terrace is meticulously maintained, featuring carefully pruned hedges, vibrant flowers, flowing fountains, and polished stone pathways. The central axis leads the eye and the soul upward to the shrine of the Barb, a golden domed sanctuary that glows like a jewel nestled among the gardens. The shrine is the final resting place of the Barb, herald of the Bahá'í faith, and its tranquil presence is the spiritual heart of the complex. The design of the gardens emphasizes harmony and unity, principles at the core of Bahá'í belief. The geometry is precise but not rigid, allowing nature's softness to balance architectural intention. Everything from the spacing of cypress trees to the trickling of water speaks of intentional peace. It's a place that invites stillness, where visitors walk slowly, speak in hushed tones, and feel gently disconnected from the world below. From each terrace, the views shift and expand. One moment, you're gazing over Haifa's red-tiled roofs. The next, your eyes stretch toward the Mediterranean, watching ships drift across blue water. In the early morning or late afternoon light, The interplay of shadows and sun enhances the garden's dreamlike atmosphere. And at night, when the terraces are illuminated, they glow like a celestial staircase against the dark hillside. What's most remarkable, perhaps, is how the Bahá'í Gardens merge spirituality with artistry. They are open to all, maintained not for spectacle, but for service, a living example of the Bahá'í commitment to beauty, peace, and unity among people and cultures. In a land often shaped by complexity and division, these gardens offer a rare moment of harmony, a serene green invitation to rise above, to reflect, and to simply breathe. High above the barren plains of the Judean Desert, where the earth drops away toward the shimmering Dead Sea, Masada rises, a massive plateau crowned with stone and silence. At first glance, it appears as little more than a rugged outcrop, scorched by sun and solitude. But approach closer, and the mountain reveals itself as a symbol, a place where the past echoes through the wind and the rocks still seem to hold their breath. Masada is more than a fortress. It is a story carved into stone, a last stronghold of defiance, and a monument to endurance. Its name stirs deep emotion in the Israeli soul, evoking sacrifice, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of a people who once took their final stand at its summit. The journey upward, whether by cable car or by the steep snake path, is part of the experience. As you ascend, the landscape unfolds, vast stretches of desert in hues of gold and brown, the Dead Sea glimmering to the east, and shadows dancing across distant canyons. It's a climb into history, both literal and symbolic. At the top lies a sprawling complex of ruins, astonishing in both scale and detail. Built by King Herod the Great in the 1st century BCE, Masada was originally a lavish desert refuge. His palace, constructed on 3 descending terraces, offered sweeping views and elegant mosaics. Storerooms, Roman-style bathhouses, and massive cisterns reveal a fortress not only strategic, but luxurious, a masterpiece of survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. But Masada's fame does not rest on Herod's ambition. It rests on the tragic and powerful events that unfolded decades later. During the First Jewish-Roman War, nearly 1,000 Jewish rebels, known as the Sicarii, fled Jerusalem after the temple's destruction and took refuge here. Surrounded by Roman forces and facing inevitable defeat, they chose death over surrender. The tale, preserved by historian Josephus, has stirred generations with its haunting final act of resistance. Walking among the ruins, it is impossible not to feel the weight of that moment. The silence atop Masada is not empty. It carries centuries of memory. Stone walls, blackened remnants of fire, and reconstructed columns frame a space where lives once burned brightly and ended bravely. It is a place that invites both reverence and reflection. Yet Masada is also a site of incredible natural beauty. At sunrise, the sky ignites with color, casting long shadows across the plateau and bathing the desert in hues of pink and gold. At dusk, the light fades into deep purples and blues, and the wind stirs softly through the ruins. The fortress becomes more than stone. It becomes spirit. Today, Masada is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, carefully preserved and deeply honored. It welcomes hikers, pilgrims, historians, and dreamers alike. Whether one comes for the archaeology, the views, or the story, all leave touched by its quiet strength. For in this remote sun-scorched corner of Israel, where cliff meets sky and silence speaks volumes, Masada endures, not only as a fortress of stone, but as a fortress of memory. In the far southern stretch of Israel, where the Negev Desert begins to dissolve into red sands and copper-stained cliffs, Timna Park emerges like a dream from deep time. Just 25 kilometers north of Eilat, this vast geological wonderland is not only a treasure of natural artistry, but also one of humanity's earliest chapters in metallurgy and desert survival. It is a place where towering sandstone pillars meet sky, where ancient mines bore into sacred rock, and where silence speaks volumes across the stone-strewn plains. Spread over 15,000 acres, Timna Park offers a surreal palette of color and form. The rocks here shift with the light, from deep crimson to soft gold, from iron black to pale white. Millions of years of geological processes, combined with millennia of human activity, have shaped a landscape unlike anywhere else. Canyons twist like labyrinths, cliffs rise in jagged defiance, and the desert floor is scattered with strange, sculptural remnants of both nature and man. The most iconic of these formations are Solomon's Pillars, massive sandstone columns that rise like sentinels at the entrance to the valley. Carved not by hands, but by wind and water, they stand as both natural monuments and sacred symbols. Beneath them lies a small ancient shrine dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Hathor, a reminder that this desert once teemed with miners, priests, and caravans rather than silence alone. For thousands of years, Timna was a hub of copper mining, dating back to the 14th century BCE. The ancients tunneled into its rocks with stone tools, extracting copper ore to smelt in primitive furnaces. Remnants of their work remain: mine shafts, slag heaps, and melting pits hidden beneath sand and scrub. Archaeological discoveries here have shed light on the technological brilliance of early societies, revealing how people thrived in an unforgiving environment through ingenuity and sacred belief. But Timna is more than its past. It is a living landscape that invites exploration. Trails snake through the park, each revealing a new marvel: the Mushroom Rock, a perfectly formed natural pedestal carved by erosion; the Spiral Hill, whose ridged surface offers panoramic views of the valley below; and the Arches, where wind-carved windows frame skies that shift from blazing blue to soft twilight hues. Even the sand seems to change color beneath your feet, from red to yellow, from purple to gray. In the heart of the park lies the Timna Lake, an unexpected burst of turquoise in a sea of earth tones. Man-made and serene, it offers shade, paddle boats, and quiet reflection, especially during the cooler months when the desert's intensity softens. Families picnic nearby. Children build sculptures from colored sand, and the silence is broken only by gentle breezes and laughter echoing across the water. Modern visitors may be surprised by how well the ancient and the innovative coexist here. At night, the park transforms into a celestial amphitheater. Far from city lights, the stars blaze in pristine clarity, and guided stargazing tours reveal constellations once used by ancient travelers navigating through this very land. During festivals, the desert comes alive with light installations and live music, merging timeless stillness with contemporary creativity. Despite its isolation, Timna is deeply connected to the land, to history, and to spirit. Bedouin hospitality still lingers in the air, with traditional tea and storytelling offered at desert tents along the trails. Rock engravings, some over 3,000 years old, mark the stones with depictions of chariots, ibexes, and symbols whose meanings are partly lost, partly felt. To wander through Timna Park is to walk through layers of earth, of civilization, of silence. It is a journey through color, through heat, through awe. And as the sun dips low and the rocks begin to glow with evening light, it becomes clear. This is not just a place on the map. It is a story carved in stone, waiting to be read by those who come with open eyes and unhurried steps. rising in golden majesty above the stone courtyards of Jerusalem's old city. The Dome of the Rock is more than an architectural marvel. It is a place where history, faith, and symbolism converge. Its golden dome glistens under the sun, commanding attention from every angle. Its brilliance mirrored in the reverence it receives from millions around the world. Constructed in the late 7th century during the Umayyad Caliphate, this stunning shrine is among the oldest surviving Islamic monuments. It is not a mosque, but a sacred site built to enshrine the foundation stone, believed in Islamic tradition to be the spot where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. In Jewish tradition, this same stone is revered as the place where Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac and where the ancient temples once stood. The dome's octagonal design, clad in blue and turquoise tiles, creates a striking contrast against the arid tones of the city's ancient walls. Intricate Arabic calligraphy encircles the building with verses from the Quran, while the golden dome, restored many times, still shines as it has for centuries. Stepping closer, one can feel the solemn quiet that settles in its courtyards. Pilgrims, scholars, and visitors from every corner of the globe stand in silent awe. Beneath the dome lies the exposed rock, surrounded by protective railings. The interior features Byzantine-style mosaics, marble, and careful symmetry, reflecting the grandeur of early Islamic artistry. Though the Dome of the Rock stands in a space shaped by both harmony and tension, it also represents shared sacredness. For Muslims, Jews, and Christians alike, this hilltop has borne witness to some of the most profound moments in spiritual history. In a single glance, it tells a story of devotion, endurance, and humanity's eternal longing to reach the divine. Perched high above the Sea of Galilee, Arbel Cliff is one of Israel's most dramatic natural wonders, a towering escarpment where rugged cliffs plunge into sweeping valleys and where time feels suspended between wind, stone, and sky. This limestone massif, though often overshadowed by better-known destinations, holds an undeniable magnetism for those who seek both panoramic vistas and stories etched deep into the earth. The ascent begins modestly, through olive groves and wild grasses. But as the trail climbs, the terrain becomes steeper, revealing the sheer face of the cliff and offering increasingly breathtaking views. From the summit, hikers are rewarded with a commanding panorama. The shimmering waters of the Sea of Galilee to the east, the Golan Heights rising in the distance, and Mount Tabor resting like a sleeping hill across the horizon. On clear days, one can even catch glimpses of Lebanon to the north. But Arbel is not only a destination for lovers of landscapes, it is steeped in history. Hidden in its cliffside are ancient caves, once used as hideouts and fortresses during the Second Temple period. Some of these caves were carved directly into the rock, by Jewish rebels resisting the might of Herod's army. Their story is etched into the stone, their struggle still palpable as you walk narrow ledges and peer into openings that once served as lookouts or sanctuaries. The remnants of fortifications and the blackened scars from battles past give the cliff a powerful historic weight. The site also whispers of spiritual significance, given its proximity to sites central to the life of Jesus. Many believe that he may have looked out from this very ridge during his travels through the Galilee region. Today, Arbel remains a quiet space of reflection and awe, far from the noise of cities, where ancient stones meet open skies and solitude seems sacred. As the sun begins to set, golden light bathes the cliffs in warm hues, casting long shadows across the valley floor. The wind, often brisk at this height, carries with it a sense of clarity, of perspective, both literal and metaphorical. Arbel is not merely a destination, it's an invitation to pause, to witness, and to reconnect with both nature and the long, complex story of this land. Whether you come for the views, the history, or the silence, Arbel Cliff offers something quietly unforgettable, an elevated world where the beauty of Israel's north can be felt in every breath and every step. To the east of Jerusalem, where the hills begin to fall away and the earth turns to ochre, the Judean Desert unfolds, silent, vast, and filled with ancient whispers. This is a place where time seems suspended in the wind and where the horizon melts into golden haze. Though called a desert, it is not empty. It is rich with history, solitude, and a beauty that reveals itself slowly, like a long-forgotten scripture waiting to be read beneath the sun. Winds sculpt the limestone cliffs into soft curves and jagged ridges, while narrow canyons plunge like veins through the land. Dry riverbeds, wadi, cut paths that once carried rainwater but now echo with stillness. The sunlight here is different, filtered through dust and silence, casting long shadows that stretch like ancient memories across the rocks. It was in this very wilderness that prophets walked, ascetics withdrew from society, and voices sought divine clarity in the emptiness. The desert was not an exile, it was a destination for those seeking something beyond the noise of the world. From this silence, many spiritual legacies were born. Among the cliffs lies Masada Monastery, one of the oldest Christian monasteries still active today. Clinging impossibly to the canyon wall, Its sandstone domes and towers seem to grow from the rock itself. The monks live according to rhythms unchanged for centuries: prayers before dawn, silence after dusk. Visitors can only glimpse part of this sacred retreat, but even from a distance, its presence is powerful, a living testament to devotion carved into the desert. Not far away, hidden caves once sheltered the Dead Sea Scrolls, guarded for 2,000 years by the dry air and secrecy of Qumran's cliffs. Their discovery unveiled one of the greatest archaeological revelations of the modern era: fragments of scripture and everyday life preserved in clay and silence. The landscape around Qumran remains windswept and desolate, but filled with the weight of what was once hidden beneath its dust. Adventure seekers are drawn to Wadi Kelt, a wild gorge winding between Jerusalem and Jericho. Here, trails hug the cliffs and reveal sudden bursts of green where springs nourish hidden gardens. The St. George Monastery, carved into the walls of the canyon, greets hikers like a vision from another time. Its white stone facade contrasts with the warm desert tones, while the sound of footsteps mingles with the faint rush of water and rustle of palms. The Judean Desert is a land of contrasts, arid yet surprisingly alive. Camels cross the horizon in silence, their silhouettes sharp against the sky. Nomadic Bedouin communities maintain a fragile thread of tradition, offering glimpses into a life shaped by the rhythms of sand and wind. In the mornings, the desert shimmers under a sky brushed with pastel light. By midday, it bakes under an unrelenting sun. And by night, it becomes a cathedral of stars, quiet and boundless. This is not a desert of dunes and mirages. It is a desert of cliffs, caves, and canyons, of solitude and scripture, of mystery and revelation. Its starkness has shaped prophets, poets, and pilgrims for millennia. And even now, for those who venture into its vast embrace, it offers something rare, a stillness that speaks, a silence that listens back. Set between the barren cliffs of the Judean Desert and the rolling hills of Jordan, the Dead Sea is one of the world's most extraordinary natural phenomena. At over 430 meters below sea level, it holds the title of Earth's lowest point on land. But elevation isn't the only record this body of water breaks. Its salinity is nearly 10 times that of the ocean, making it so dense that anyone can float with effortless ease, as if cradled by the earth itself. The first impression is often surreal. From afar, the sea appears calm and glassy, its surface mirroring the stark, almost lunar landscape that surrounds it. As you approach, the air thickens with a subtle mineral scent, and the terrain begins to sparkle. Crystals of salt, encrust rocks, tree stumps, and shoreline mud, giving everything a ghostly white shimmer. It's both alien and hypnotic. The Dead Sea has drawn people for millennia. In biblical times, it was known as the Salt Sea and was referenced throughout ancient texts. Herod the Great established one of the earliest known health resorts here, attracted by the sea's legendary healing properties. Cleopatra herself is said to have ordered shipments of its black mud and salts to preserve her skin. Today, travelers continue the ritual, covering themselves in mineral-rich mud before drifting in the buoyant, silky waters. Yet the Dead Sea is not just about wellness or wonder. It is also a symbol of fragility. Over the past decades, the sea has been receding at an alarming rate due to water diversion from the Jordan River and mineral extraction. Once thriving beaches now sit far from the current shoreline, and sinkholes have emerged across the region, haunting reminders of ecological imbalance. Scientists, conservationists, and local communities have voiced growing concern, calling for sustainable action to preserve this one-of-a-kind natural treasure before it's too late. Despite these challenges, the surrounding region continues to radiate life and history. Nearby, Ein Gedi Nature Reserve bursts with waterfalls and wildlife, a hidden oasis where ibexes perch on cliff edges and hyraxes scurry beneath palms. The Masada Fortress looms not far away, its heroic tale etched into Israeli identity. Even the desert's silence here seems to hum with ancient stories. In the early morning, when the haze lifts and the mountains across the water blush with gold, the Dead Sea transforms again. It becomes more than a destination. It feels like a reflection of Earth's deep memory, a place where geography, mythology, science, and spirit meet. Whether you come to float, to heal, or simply to marvel, the Dead Sea leaves a mark. It's a landscape of extremes, deeply quiet, strangely beautiful, and impossible to forget. And then there's the night. As stars rise above the cliffs, the sea below reflects a canopy of cosmic light. The quiet becomes absolute, broken only by the gentle lapping of thick waters on salty shores. Few places on Earth offer such an overwhelming sense of stillness. It's not just the body that floats here. Thoughts drift too, and time loses its grip. The Dead Sea isn't simply visited, it's experienced on every level, visually, physically, spiritually, and long after you've left its shores, you carry a part of its profound silence within you. Even in an age of constant motion, the Dead Sea offers something increasingly rare: stillness that speaks louder than sound. It's a place where silence becomes memory and salt becomes story. heart of the Negev Desert, where the sun casts sharp shadows and the horizon stretches without end, lies one of Israel's most extraordinary landscapes, the Ramon Crater, or Maktesh Ramon. It is not a crater in the volcanic or meteoric sense, but a geological phenomenon found nowhere else in the world. Carved by erosion over millions of years, this vast heart-shaped basin is a testament to time, earth, and silence, a cathedral of stone shaped by patience rather than violence. Spanning some 40 kilometers in length and 10 kilometers across at its widest point, Ramon Crater is the largest of its kind on Earth. From above, its jagged ridges and layered cliffs resemble an ancient scar upon the land, yet down below, it breathes with subtle life and raw majesty. Its walls tell a geologic story as old as the continents, each sediment layer a silent page in Earth's ancient journal. At the rim, the small town of Mitzpe Ramon perches like a watchtower on the edge of the world. The view from its promenade is nothing short of mesmerizing. As the light shifts throughout the day, the crater transforms. Dawn softens its jagged outline with rose and lavender hues, while midday sun ignites it into fierce gold and amber. At dusk, the crater sinks back into itself, wrapped in deep violet shadows under a sky already stitching itself with stars. Descending into the crater, the silence becomes tangible. There are no cities here, no artificial noise, only the wind tracing patterns through dry riverbeds, the call of a bird echoing from cliffs, the crunch of footfall on ancient rock. The landscape seems barren at first, but life clings here with remarkable persistence. Ibexes leap across rock faces with ease. Desert lizards sun themselves on warm boulders, and occasional acacia trees stand like sentinels, offering brief patches of shade. The crater's geological diversity is astounding. Volcanic rock, sandstone, and limestone lie side by side, their colors painting the floor in streaks of rust, cream, and black. Ammonite fossils, curled remnants of prehistoric marine life, rest embedded in stone, relics of a time when this desert was submerged under ancient seas. Prism-shaped rocks and unique erosion formations lend the terrain an otherworldly feel, as though it belongs to a distant planet. For the adventurous, Ramon Crater offers trails that wind through canyons, climb ridgelines, and traverse silent plateaus. The Carpentry Valley, with its natural geometric formations, showcases volcanic rock that fractures into precise, angular shapes. In Ein Saharonim, a seasonal spring attracts desert wildlife and offers a glimpse of water's quiet miracle in a land ruled by drought. Jeep tours bounce across wide gravel plains, uncovering stories of ancient trade routes and hidden Nabatean ruins. But the crater's greatest gift may be the night. Designated as Israel's first international dark sky park, Maktesh Ramon offers some of the clearest stargazing in the region. With no major light pollution for miles, the Milky Way stretches in a luminous arc overhead, and meteor showers draw silent audiences wrapped in blankets beneath the stars. It is a sky that speaks of vastness and wonder, and a reminder that awe is not limited to daytime views. Nearby, the Ramon Visitor Center pays tribute not only to the crater's natural significance, but also to Ilan Ramon, Israel's first astronaut who perished aboard the Columbia Space Shuttle. His story, woven into the exhibit, becomes part of the greater narrative of exploration of Earth, sky, and human dreams. Yet above all, Ramon Crater is a place of quiet encounter. It does not demand attention with flashy colors or towering peaks. Instead, it invites visitors into a slower rhythm, a chance to listen, observe, breathe deeply, and marvel at a landscape formed not in moments of chaos, but in long, deliberate silence. To walk within its vast embrace is to touch something timeless. It is a place that leaves no footprints on the soul, only impressions, lasting and profound. Akko, also known as Acre, stands as a city carved from centuries, its soul layered in stone, sea, and spirit. Tucked along Israel's northern coastline, Akko is not just a historical landmark. It's a living testament to resilience and cultural convergence. Here, the echoes of crusaders, Ottomans, Mamluks, and merchants are embedded in the architecture, the narrow alleyways, and even in the scent of spice, drifting from age-old markets. Walking through Akko's old city is like leafing through a time-worn manuscript. The Templar Tunnel, once a hidden artery connecting the harbor to the fortress, winds beneath the city like a secret. Above it, the Knights' Halls, with their vaulted ceilings and hushed grandeur, speak of a time when this city served as the capital of the Crusader kingdom in the Holy Land. The stones seem to carry the weight of medieval ambitions and ancient battles. Yet today, they welcome visitors with quiet dignity and a powerful stillness that speaks louder than words. The Ottoman influence is just as palpable. Stroll through the bustling Khan Alumdan, a 200-year-old caravanserai, and you can almost hear the footsteps of traders who once rested here after long journeys across the Levant. The Al-Jazar Mosque, grand and green-domed, dominates the skyline with its elegant minaret and echoing courtyards, a serene reminder of the city's spiritual depth and religious diversity. Close by, Turkish baths, narrow souks, and shaded passageways reveal daily life, much as it was centuries ago. What makes Akko remarkable is not just its layers of history, but how fully they remain part of everyday life. Children play in Crusader courtyards, fishermen mend nets on docks that have seen Phoenician ships, and Arab and Jewish families share space within ancient walls. The city's market, a symphony of color and scent, offers everything from fresh herbs to handmade sweets, while the nearby sea crashes against walls that have withstood sieges and storms for centuries. Even the graffiti on stone walls tells its own modern tale of resistance and resilience. Step outside the old city walls, and you'll find vibrant neighborhoods blending past and present. The harbor, where boats now bob peacefully, was once a focal point of military strategy and trade. Cafes spill onto terraces with views of endless Mediterranean blue. And from certain angles, the city appears to float between sea and sky, suspended in timeless calm. Akko doesn't compete for attention. It captivates slowly. It's a place where every corner tells a story, every wall holds a whisper, and every sunset over the sea feels steeped in memory. For travelers seeking more than postcard beauty, those who long to feel history under their feet and taste tradition in every bite, Akko offers an experience that is both grounded and transcendent. It's not just a city you visit, it's a city you absorb, and one that quietly stays with you. Nestled in northern Israel, where hills roll gently into shimmering water and ancient villages sleep beside olive groves, lies the Sea of Galilee, a freshwater lake steeped in serenity, myth, and memory. Despite its modest size, this body of water holds a vastness that defies dimensions. Here, the land breathes with sacred echoes, and each ripple seems to carry a story older than time. Also called Lake Kinneret, its name comes from the Hebrew word for harp, kinnor, reflecting the lake's elegant shape. But beyond its form, the Sea of Galilee plays a melody of history, nature, and spirit. Surrounded by fertile valleys and framed by distant mountains, it lies 200 meters below sea level, making it the lowest freshwater lake on Earth. It is both a natural wonder and a spiritual anchor. In the stillness of dawn, mist often curls over the surface, like a prayer whispered in water. Fishermen cast nets in the soft light, continuing a rhythm practiced for centuries. Birds glide overhead, herons, cormorants, and kingfishers, while along the banks, reeds rustle softly in the breeze. The lake's shores are gentle, its waters calm, yet its presence holds immense gravity. The landscape here is layered with moments that shaped faiths and civilizations. On the northern shore lies Capernaum, an ancient fishing village where stone ruins reveal the outlines of synagogues and homes believed to have been walked by early followers of Jesus. Nearby stands the Church of the Beatitudes, perched on a quiet hillside where wildflowers bloom and olive trees sway. It is said to mark the site of the Sermon on the Mount, a message of peace delivered above a sea that mirrors the sky. Further west, the Mount of Arbel rises dramatically, offering a panoramic sweep of the Galilean basin. From its cliffs, one can see the lake spread out like a polished gem, reflecting the changing sky in hues of silver, blue, and rose. The view encompasses farms, kibbutzim, and ancient trade routes, reminders that this region has long been a crossroads of cultures and empires. On the eastern side, the Golan Heights slope toward the lake, bringing with them streams that feed the Jordan River, which flows in at the north and exits to the south. The water here is lifeblood, not only for its biblical symbolism, but as a vital source of fresh water for the nation. Yet despite its practicality, the lake remains deeply poetic. Locals come not just to fish or swim, but to pause, to sit on the shoreline, feel the warmth of the sun, and listen to the soft lap of water against stone. Modern life has grown around the Sea of Galilee, yet it has not overwhelmed it. Tiberias, founded in the Roman era, is a city both historic and alive. Here, Roman baths sit near modern promenades, and open-air restaurants serve dishes infused with Galilean flavors: fresh tilapia, lemony herbs, soft cheeses, and ripe figs. Spa resorts offer rest beside ancient springs, while evening boat rides let travelers float across the lake beneath wide, starlit skies. Throughout the year, the lake shifts moods. In spring, wildflowers paint the hills in bright color, and migrating birds fill the skies. In summer, the heat glows golden, and the water invites long swims. Autumn brings cooler winds and softer sunsets, while winter sometimes cloaks the mountaintops in mist, adding a gentle melancholy to the peaceful shores. For many, the Sea of Galilee is more than a destination. It is an encounter, a place where time loosens its grip, where silence feels sacred, and where nature and story intertwine. Pilgrims come seeking connection, families come for beauty, and wanderers arrive simply to stand at the edge of the water and breathe. It is said that here, storms once calmed at the sound of a voice, and footsteps once danced across the waves. Whether one comes in faith, curiosity, or quiet wonder, the Sea of Galilee offers something rare, a stillness that welcomes all, and a timelessness that lingers long after the journey ends. In the heart of Israel, where ancient stones bear the weight of countless generations, Jerusalem rises, eternal, complex, and sacred. Few cities stir the soul quite like this one. It is a place where history is not locked behind glass, but lives in the streets, in the golden light that falls on limestone walls, and in the murmur of prayers rising from every corner. From the first steps within the old city walls, Jerusalem envelops visitors in an atmosphere both hushed and alive. Cobbled alleyways wind through 4 distinct quarters: Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and Armenian, each a mosaic of tradition, color, and time. The scent of spices drifts through bustling markets, while the melodic calls of church bells and minarets blend into an ancient symphony of faith. The Western Wall stands as a place of deep reverence, where hands touch stone worn smooth by centuries of longing. It is more than a monument, it is a living expression of memory, devotion, and hope. Nearby, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre holds its own quiet gravity, with pilgrims tracing the final steps of Christ beneath domes heavy with incense and light. Mount Zion rises just beyond, holding stories layered like sediment. The room of the Last Supper, King David's tomb, and sacred cemeteries all rest upon its slopes. And from the Mount of Olives, the city unfolds in all its solemn beauty, domes and spires set against a backdrop of sun-drenched hills, with shadows that seem to carry the echoes of prophets and kings. But Jerusalem is not solely a city of the past. It breathes with the pulse of the present. Street musicians strum oud melodies beneath archways. Contemporary art galleries bloom amid historic stone. In Mahane Yehuda Market, tradition meets innovation. Vendors call out from stalls piled high with halva, olives, and fresh pita, while tucked-away cafes serve espresso beside avant-garde dishes that reinterpret ancient flavors. Each neighborhood adds its own rhythm. In Ein Kerem, the scent of cypress mingles with the sound of church choirs. In the German colony, shaded boulevards whisper stories of 19th century settlers. And in the city center, trams glide past young soldiers, yeshiva students, diplomats, and artists, each adding a verse to the ongoing Jerusalem song. Museums here do not merely inform, they immerse. The Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial, etched into a hillside, leads visitors through the corridors of grief and resilience. At the Israel Museum, the Dead Sea Scrolls lie beneath a radiant white dome, silent witnesses to the ancient soul of this land. The Tower of David Museum, nestled beside the Jaffa Gate, traces the full arc of the city's 3,000-year-old history through interactive exhibits and panoramic views. Yet perhaps the city's greatest wonder lies in the way time folds here. A sunrise walk through the ramparts reveals rooftops crowned with satellite dishes and centuries-old domes. Light filters through stained glass in chapels that have heard Latin prayers for 1,000 years. And beneath the streets, archaeological layers whisper tales of kings, conquerors, rebels, and visionaries. This city is not easily understood. It must be felt, explored, and returned to again and again. For beneath its visible splendor lies an invisible thread, drawing hearts from every corner of the world toward this one luminous center.